Hey everyone, welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host OD, and today we will be reviewing and analyzing chapter 1132 of One Piece. If this is your first time on my channel, or you've been here before but haven't done so already, would greatly appreciate it if you could like, share, and subscribe. Anyway, without much further ado, let's get into this review. Alright, chapter 1132 of One Piece, Adventures in Elbaph, or Adventure in Elbaph. We start off with a cover story, and it is Yamato, Speed, who else? Tama, and I think like one other person, and they are finally arriving at the former Udon prison that is being rebuilt. I don't know if it's being rebuilt as a prison. Oh no, Udon Castle. So I guess it's being rebuilt back into a castle, no longer a prison. And we're still trying to figure out who's kidnapping these girls and who's taking these swords and whatnot. So I'm very, very interested in that. I already told you guys my theories in past videos, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let's get on with the review. This was going to be a little bit shorter, not a lot to talk about, and I'm going to start, kind of differentiating my videos between like my more longer format ones that usually tend to run like 25 to like 40 minutes, and this one that I think I'll probably keep it nice and short and sweet, around 10 to 15 minutes for this one. So we have we start off with I've read three different translations of this chapter. We got Colin, Colon, and now we got Colin, whatever, I'm just gonna call him Colin. I feel like it's Colon because Oda likes to do that Dragon Ball Z thing where he gives certain people like theme names, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was something going on here. But we have him, and he's super excited because he hears that the giant pirates have returned and they brought Luffy with him. He knows all about Luffy. He was around when Shanks was at Elbaph, and Shanks was talking about Luffy and telling him to prepare for him. Also, this is the kid that a lot of us fans were saying gives us a lot of like Luffy vibes, and it's just kind of funny how like Shanks goes from island to island. But I mean, Elbaph is his main spot, but like probably influencing these kids and like inspiring these little Luffys. And so now like Luffy honestly has become that person as well. In the pre-time skip, we didn't see it at all, but I've noticed almost in every arc in the post-time skip after, I want to say, Dressrosa, like there's kind of a kid there that he kind of takes on and gives like a mentorship role model role, and like inspires to be like kind of either like him or inspires to be like a better person and just take on the world. And so I think that's gonna start playing a way more important role in the future of the series, where we see these people that have been influenced by Shanks and these kids that have been influenced by Luffy doing things in their respective villages and islands and whatnot when the final war comes to pass. So anyway, he asked them, hey, you guys coming up to eat? They're like, no. They're really shocked by it, and they're going to the Sun Realm. We found out there are three realms: the Heaven Realm, Sun Realm, and the Underworld. The Underworld is where we've spent a majority of our time, and the Sun Realm is what we're going to get introduced to today. And I'm wondering if our antagonists are going to come from the Heaven Realm. We've seen this with Skypiea. We've seen this with every place ever inside of One Piece, where like even at the pinnacle there's always someone on top, and you can bet that like whatever the equivalent of the giant celestial dragons are going to be in that Heaven Realm, because at the end of the day, the higher up you are, the safer you are. And so the safest place in Elbaph is going to be that Heaven Realm, because despite any flood, no matter how high it gets, like that most likely is going to be the safest place for people to hide out and be safe and survive the impending flood. Also, high ground is really important in war and tactics and stuff like that. So like once again, as the ruler and stuff, you're going to want to be on the highest absolute plane, not only to give you safety from the flood, but also just to give you a military advantage when there are invaders and having to work your way up. like it makes sense that the bottom tier of Elbaph or whatever this whole place is called is the underworld, because that's where most of the war is most likely going to take place, where the fallen, the dead are going to be predominantly. So I get it. Anyway, we get introduced to some new tech, and there is a fucking rainbow bridge of sorts. So kind of like Oda once again looping in that Norse mythology, and this rainbow bridge, this rainbow sea cloud, if you will, or whatever it is, was drawn by the thing that got mentioned earlier by Hajrudin and not Stu, is his name Stusen? I forget his name. The chef, I believe, or is it the shipwright? The shipwright or whatever. But they use a sea stone painter, and we don't get to see it used, so that's a little bit annoying. But they use a sea stone painter to draw a rainbow that they are able to travel on, right? And I thought that was super cool. I thought that was a really cool way to tie in the lore of the Rainbow Bridge that is predominant in like Viking, Asgard lore and stuff like that. But also just a really unique thing to once again add on to the lore of Elbaph. Once on like who is it? Like Robin. Is it Robin that says something that like you know, there's always something new to learn, like you never know like everything about the island, etc., etc., etc. That's just once, like, even it's just Oda showing us that even this far in the series that there's still surprise for us. We don't know everything that's going on. There's still going to be lots of technology and magic and devices and stuff that we are going to see. Also, something that no one is really talking about is the fact that, so I always had this theory that Shanks was able, like, so there was stated that the way Shanks is able to circumnavigate the globe is kind of suspicious. He's able to get places really quickly when he shouldn't be able to. And I always personally thought that he had his sword Griffin was a sword that had eaten a devil fruit, and the devil fruit that it ate either had wind or weather or some kind of, like, maybe a mythological griffin power that allowed him to use nature. Like, I know dragon is the one that people think have like wind and whatnot, but I thought that for whatever reason, like Shanks' sword also had elements. And when I've seen him use it in the movies, and when I saw him use Wi-Fi hockey and stuff, it kind of looked like it was coming from his sword. So I thought that maybe, there was something going on with that. And so what I thought was happening was, in order to get places fast, he could just use his sword's ability or the wind ability of his sword to like fill their sails and just have them full speed, like as if like they had like the best headwinds or whatever, and get them from place to place. And I thought that was the explanation. Now that we know about this, what's it called? Sunstone painter. Now it's making sense that, okay, this most likely is the like thing that he's able to use, and it would make sense because he is well liked, he's well cherished, he's well loved in Elbaph. So I wouldn't put it past the Elbaphians to be like, hey man, here's this thing, no one else, we never really give it out to anyone else, but you're cool peoples, here you go, use this whenever you're in a bind and you need to get somewhere, use this whenever you want to come up to Elbaph without what's it called, announcing yourself. If you want to just stop in or whatever, here you go, so you don't have to like call for us. So that would make plenty of sense. Now my only question is, why hasn't this been used more? Why didn't they use this to get to Elbaph in the first place? And I'm sure that there are certain circumstances, like I do think that they mentioned something along the lines of like the weather prohibited it before. And I also wonder if like you need to be at there needs to be a high angle for you to travel. I don't know, but I'm very curious why like this hasn't been talked about more, or just maybe like when you're writing it, people don't really see you on it. They just think it's a standard rainbow and stuff like that. But I'm sure there's a rationale. I'm sure there's a reason. So anyway, Luffy links back up with the pirates. He sees Gerd and I forget the other dude's name holding the Sunny, and he initially, obviously, he's like, hey, that's my ship, what are you guys doing? But immediately they're like, hey, we're with the giant pirates, we don't fuck with Roto, fuck that nigga, we don't like him, we're cool as fuck, we're not racist against humans, we love humans. In fact, honestly, we really wish we were not affiliated with this dude at all. We really wish that was the case, but it's not the case. But we love you, we're cool with you. All right, bet. And Luffy, obviously, he knows people really well, is instantly like, all right, cool, lands in her hand. They have a conversation and stuff. He gets asked by the cook, like, hey, what were you doing down there? That's the underworld. To which like Luffy freaks out because he has that arrangement with Loki where he's like, hey, don't say anything. So Luffy's like freaking out, like, I don't want to lie. And so the cook's like, hey man, it's chill, it's cool, we're just happy to see you. Now my thing is like, I don't know if like the cook thinks that like Luffy is shook, because that's weird. Luffy is a Yonko, he knows he's strong, so it'd be weird for Luffy to be like shook. But like, who knows, maybe he's just like, he doesn't want to talk about it, and we're not gonna force him. We're already on thin ice because a member of our crew fucked with him. We don't want him to like go to war against us because of the actions of this dude, so we're just gonna like keep him happy. Whatever he wants, he gets, and whatever he doesn't want to talk about, he doesn't have to fucking talk about, right? After that, they run into the rest of the crew, which honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit disappointed, because I was like, what was the point of separating them if they were going to meet again so quickly, right? And it just kind of seems like Oda really wanted to separate Luffy from the crew to have that conversation with Loki, and it might have been harder plot-wise to do if the entire crew was there. If like every single person was there, it would have been a lot harder to do, because somebody would have gone with him, right? So I guess, or somebody would have, I don't know. But like, it just looks like he really wanted them separated, not for too long, just for that moment, so Luffy and Loki could have that moment, and also that the Straw Hats that would have recognized the X symbol on Luffy's arm in the paper would not have been present, and he achieved that, and he's just like, all right, that's it, we're moving on, back together, boom. So I didn't want them to be separated for too long, but I did want them to be separated a little bit longer, have individual adventures. I thought them being separated was going to lead to some problems and stuff like that, and it just kind of got resolved a little bit too fast for me, but hey, not a big deal. Not that bad. It's cool. Anyway, I love the part of the chapter when like Sanji and Zoro trap Roto, and then like I forget who tells them, if it's Nami or Usopp, that they went a little bit too hard, like they could get in trouble for injuring him. But then Gerd and the other dudes show up immediately and bust fucking Roto's ass, and like Zoro's like, look, evidence of us hurting a god. And I just started geeking, because these dudes are the funniest dudes ever, and I just love how like much disdain like members of their crew have for Roto. Which, speaking of disdain for crewmates, I've noticed almost in every crew, minus like maybe like Shanks's crew, there always does seem to be like a member that is not universally liked by the rest of the members. And like, I don't count like Zoro and Sanji's little like rivalry beef, but I think it's kind of cool that there's like no one in the One Piece the Straw Hat crew that like doesn't fuck with each other, and that's really nice. Like, there's no like odd man out, if you know what I mean. So that's really cool as well, because I've always noticed like different crews kind of have like someone that people don't like, and like Straw Hats are a crew of like, nah, like we're homies, and if someone's not a homie, then they're just not on the crew. So anyway, we ride the Rainbow Bridge up. We find out that, you don't need, it's pretty passive. As long as you start rowing on it or going a certain direction, it'll take you that direction. Headwinds help and stuff, but other than that, you are good. And as we get to the top of the rainbow, we overlook the sun realm of Elbaph, and it is so massive that we can't even see all of it, but from what we can see, it is freaking beautiful. It is lovely, and I'm really hoping, like I said earlier in my other review, that like that map, that like the prison that Roto made was based on this level of Elbaph, and for whatever reason, and because Nami memorized that map, something is going to happen in the plot where they're going to need to get somewhere or do something, and Nami is going to have the perfect knowledge in order to like navigate them through Elbaph and whatever hardship that they run into. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before I end this chapter review is the person at the end of the chapter. I literally did not notice this person until like my like second or third read through, and then I saw that little shadow figure, and he's wearing the hat. So everyone and their mom thinks it's Shiki the Lion. Would not be surprised if it was Shiki the Lion. Would make a lot of sense. Would also explain why this prominent figure has been nowhere in the story for quite some time. I forget if it was Morge or Tekking. I saw one of their videos. I believe they think, one of them thinks it could be Scopper Gaban. That would make sense. I'm going to stick with Shiki because, like, I like to just go simplest explanation. Because at the end of the day, that's most likely who it is. But Oda, being Oda, can always give you a red herring, can always throw you off, can always, like, he just likes to do this stuff. So it's really hard to make these guesses at times. So like I said, I'm guessing Shiki. But if it is someone like Scopper, that would make a lot of sense too. And I wonder, like, how this will play into the story. Is he going to be an antagonist? or is he simply just going to be an avenue for more lore? Anyway, I'm gonna leave it here for the. Oh wait, and then we have the Louis Arnott, the explorer. If you guys don't remember, I believe he is the one that we learned information and lore about originally talked about Little Garden from, and not Skypiea. That was Noland, but we have heard this name before. This is a famous adventure, and we do know that adventures in One Piece aren't just like, jokes. Like when we saw Noland, he seemed like a joke, but he was actually like a tough ass dude. So in order for this dude to get from Little Garden, which is in the old world, or like in not paradise, but like on the East Blue, and like make it all the way to Elbaph, means that like he was like that. So I can't wait. I kind of hope we get some kind of Skypean flashback, kind of Noland flashback with this adventure and learn more about him. But it says, do not overstay your welcome here, and we just do not know what that means. One theory I really like, I think it was Tekking that said this, is maybe there's something here that makes humans sick. Roger got sick, Whitebeard got sick, they had these mysterious sicknesses, so maybe there's something like that going on. I think that would be a phenomenal theory. Other than that, it's just, I wonder if we've gotten a hint at, we've gotten a taste of racial discrimination from the Giants. We have people like Roto that see them as like inferior in toys. We have people like Gerd who, like, even though she seems to get along with them, it's more on some like, oh, you guys are cute, adorable stuff. Kind of like if you guys are familiar with like not microaggression stuff, but like how people kind of like infantilize like minorities and stuff like that, and like they're like not racist, but in a way they're like prejudiced and stuff like that. So it could be something like that. Also, there is literally a job for people to like capture humans. So like once again, like Luffy and company are the good ones. Like Shanks, they're the good ones. But majority wise, like, yeah. So I'm really excited. I'm really interested to see like what's gonna happen, how we're gonna meet these leaders, the current king, and see how he feels and what have you. So anyway, this has been Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Oh, and I meant to do this in the beginning of the the episode, I mean to say, but I forgot. My boss got me this really dope shirt. So I'm really easy to shop for. Just like I think at this point he knows just if it's anime he'll like it, and he loves One Piece. So he got me this really dope Zoro shirt, kind of like a baseball jersey kind of ish. And like, oh, the design on it is fire. So shout out to my boss, Master Kurt. Really appreciate you. And yeah, we'll leave it at there. Take care. Peace. This has been Otaku Talk, and I'm your host, OD.